Hi friends, Miss Previtt here, and she wants to talk to you about time throughout our day. Now normally we'd break our day up into two sections, and that's the morning section. When our sun is out and it's nice and bright, our sun comes up in the morning and then it stays around for half of our day. And then the other part of our day is at nighttime, when it gets dark, when the moon comes out, when the stars come out, and that's our nighttime. So there are some things that we do in the morning and in our daytime, and there are some things that we do at night during our nighttime, like sleeping. But we also split our day up into two sections in a different way. And you might realize that sometimes we say it's 8 o'clock. But is it 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night? Sometimes it's hard to tell what time we're talking about. So we split our day up from our two 12 o'clocks, from our noon until our midnight. So Miss Previtt's going to draw a new line on our circle, and she's going to split our day up in half in a different way. And this half of our day, which starts at midnight in the middle of the night, goes through some of our night, and then through our morning, all the way until noon, which is right in the middle of our day. We like to think about that, about our second recess time at school. We call this time AM time. So anything from midnight until noon is in the AM. So it's partially at night and partially in the day. And then the other half of our day, all the way from noon, so about our second recess at school, through part of the day and until the sun goes down, and part of our night, and we call that PM. So we have our AM and we have our PM. Both of them have a little bit of night and a little bit of day. So let's think about some of the things that we do in the AM and some of the things that we do in the PM. So are we doing it at 8 a.m. in the morning, or are we doing it at 8 p.m. in the nighttime? So Miss Previtt has some pieces of paper with some pictures on them, and we're going to do some sorting. So let's look at our first picture. Somebody having their snack. We have our snack after our first recess. When does that happen? In the AM or in the PM? You got it. It happens in our AM. What about reading a story before bedtime? Does that happen in our AM or does that happen in our PM? You got it. It happens in our PM, right when our sun goes down and we're getting ready for bed before we start to fall asleep all through the night. What about eating our lunch? Now remember, halfway through our day, when it changes to PM, is about our second recess. So that means lunch would be part of our PM. Good job. When does the sun come up? In the AM or in the PM? You got it. Sun comes up in the AM. What about eating our breakfast before we come to school? Does that happen in the AM or in the PM? You got it, in our AM. What about putting our pajamas on before bed? AM or PM? You got it. It happens in the PM. What about sleeping? Does it happen in our AM or in our PM? Miss Previtt's trying to trick you, because we sleep a little bit in our PM and a little bit in our AM as well, because the night is halfway in our PM and halfway in our AM. So Miss Privet's going to put it right on the line because we're sleeping in both our AM and our PM. She's trying to trick ya. What about hanging our things up when we come to school? Do we do that in the AM or in the PM? You got it, in the AM. Last one. Doing our schoolwork. Do we do our schoolwork in the AM or in the PM? Oh, this was another trick question from Miss Previtt. We're at school a little bit of the AM and a little bit of the PM after our second recess. So we're doing schoolwork in both. So Miss Previtt's going to put it right on the line. So I hope this helps you remember our different times of the day. We have our day times and we have our night times, but we also have our AM and our PM. AM is things that happen in the morning up until our afternoon, and PM are things that happen in our afternoon all the way to when we go to sleep. Now I want you to try to think of some things that you do in the AM and in the PM and draw me a picture and try to write me a sentence or a word about the thing that you're doing in the AM and the thing that you're doing in the PM. I can't wait to see all of your work. Bye, friends.